Morning guys, welcome to today's lesson, May 14th, Delta Math. You do have a Delta Math that is due tonight at 8 o'clock. Make sure you get that done. And I know you might be getting some final projects and exams and all this talk from your other teachers. Really all it's going to be for this class is a Delta Math. You'll have an extended period of time to complete it. It'll be probably a little bit longer than usual, but all it is Delta Math from what we've been learning, this new stuff with Algebra 2, and of course what we've been doing throughout the year in geometry. Alright, so don't stress about that. Just stay with these daily lessons and get your Delta Math done. You will be totally fine. Alright, so how do we get 100% on this week's Delta Math? Alright, factoring is going to be huge. You can see the first one here, 15x minus 21. We always check for Gcf factoring first. This expression definitely has a GCF. What can we divide evenly into 15 and 21? That value would be 3. Alright, so you can divide both these terms by 3. Remember to throw the 3 out front of the parentheses now. 15x divided by 3 is 5x. Negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. And you're done. Just a quick little GCF. You could also check your work. Go in reverse now. We could distribute 3 times 5x. That is 15x. 3 times negative 7. That is negative 21. Alright, just a side note. You could check your work through distribution. Okay, next. Another form of factoring. This one would be dots. These are both perfect squares. Remember, when it is dots, you open up two binomials. What times itself gives you x squared? That's x. What times itself gives you 81? That's 9. And remember, with dots, one of the signs is positive and one of the signs is negative. And you're done. Alright, one more factoring. Make sure we got the fundamentals down pat. Alright, you have x squared minus 8x plus 12. Check for GCF. Not GCF. Definitely not dots. Alright, it's a trinomial. The value in front of x squared is 1, so just your standard AM factoring. So we need what multiplies to 12 and what adds to negative 8. So think about what that might be. What multiplies to 12 and adds to negative 8. That would be negative 6 and negative 2. So it would be x minus 6 and x minus 2. Right, because what's negative 6 times negative 2? That would be 12. What's negative 6 plus negative 2? That would be negative 8. And you're done. Alright, so just really the most basic forms of factoring, but you cannot forget the fundamentals. Okay, GCF, dots, and AM. And later on we'll look at some AC factoring. Alright, combining like terms. That's definitely a section in your Delta Math this week. Alright, negative 6y. What's a like term with that? Alright, negative 4y. Remember, like terms have to have the same variable and the same exponent. Alright, y squared. Where are y squared terms? Alright, y squared and negative 4y squared. And our numbers that are by themselves, the constants, 3, negative 7, and positive 1. I think it's helpful to write the terms next to each other, so we have y squared minus 4y squared. Now our y values, negative 6y and negative 4y. And then our constants, we have 3, negative 7, and positive 1. All right. So what happens when we have y squared minus 4y squared? Remember, this is 1y squared. Alright, so 1y squared minus 4y squared. Alright, so that would be negative 3y squared. Now we have negative 6y minus 4y. So that's just negative 6 minus 4. If you're not sure, type it in your calculator. Alright, this would be negative 10y. And now your constants, 3 minus 7 plus 1. Well, 3 minus 7 is negative 4, plus 1 is negative 3. Remember, like terms, same variable, same exponent. All right. Now, adding and subtracting polynomials. Basically the same thing as combining like terms, except if, for example, if you have something like subtraction, remember that is a -1 in front of the parentheses. Remember what that does. Distributing that -1 changes all the signs. So positive becomes negative, negative becomes positive. The first set of parentheses has really just a 1 in front. That doesn't change anything, so it's just -4x squared plus 2. And now it's not going to be -7x squared, it's going to be +7x squared. It's not going to be +10x, it's going to be -10x. And it's not going to be +1, it's going to be -1. Remember, all those signs change. And now it's just combining like terms. -4x squared and 7x squared. -10x does not have any like terms. We have 2 and -1. Alright, so let's do our x squared terms first. I'm going to just talk this one out. -4x squared plus 7x squared. Alright, what's -4 plus 7? So we have 3x squared. Then you write your x term, -10x. And then your constants, 2 minus 1, which is just 1. And you're done. Alright. Multiplying. In this case, it's 2 binomials. Just got to set up 2 by 2 box here. We have x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. So 2x times x is 2x squared. X times 3 is 3x. -3 times 2x is -6x. And -3 times 3 is -9. Remember, these are like terms. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 6x minus 9. So just combine those like terms and you're done. We have 2x squared. Combine those x terms. 3 minus 6 is -3, so -3x minus 9, and you're good to go. Alright, now a couple trinomials where the a value is greater than 1. The value in front of x squared is bigger than 1. Okay, these may give you some trouble. Alright, remember, this is kind of like the trick that we learned to do this. This is not going to be how you learned it in Algebra 1. But this way, honestly, is most likely better. All right, it's a little less thinking, a little less work. Okay, but the way you start is always check for GCF. In both of these expressions, there is no GCF. All right, so it's AC factoring. All right, AC factoring. So what's our value in the first one? Our value for AC is equal to 3 times 4, which is 12. So we need these values, remember, we need them to multiply to 12 now, and they have to add to the b value. Right, the b value is -13. So what multiplies to 12 and adds to -13? Think about that. Multiply to 12, add to -13. That would be -12 and -1. Right? You multiply those together, you get 12. And if you add them together, you get -13. So remember, we're opening up our 2 sets of parentheses here. We'll have -12 and -1. And remember, we don't just put x in front of these now. We put 3x, the value in front of x squared. So it's going to be 3x and 3x. And now we check to see if we can divide something out, one or both. All right, the first one you can divide something out, the second one you can't. This first one you could divide out of 3. But remember, this is not regular GCF factoring. We don't put the 3 out front. Okay, so this would be 3x divided by 3, which is x. Negative 12 divided by 3, which is negative 4. And then we have our 3x minus 1. All right, another one with AC factoring. So your value for AC is equal to 5 times negative 4, which is negative 20. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to the b value, which is negative 19. So what multiplies to negative 20 and adds to negative 19? If they're multiplying to a negative, the signs have to be different. So this would be negative 20 and positive 1. Right, because negative 20 times 1 is negative 20. Negative 20 plus 1 is negative 19. All right, so open up your two sets of parentheses. Negative 20 and negative 1. And we got to throw a 5x in front now for each. 5x, 5x. And here we could divide out a 5. So 5x divided by 5 is x. Negative 20 divided by 5 is negative 4. And then we have 5x. Excuse me, here this is supposed to be a positive 1 right there. Alright, so 5x plus 1. I just copied it over wrong. See over to the right here in green, negative 20 and 1. Right, so be careful. It's very easy to make a silly mistake. Alright, so 5x plus 1 times x minus 4. Alright. And probably the most challenging section is the long division. Okay, remember what I've been saying in the videos, guys, a couple times. What you really need to take to Algebra 2 is this AC factoring. This AC factoring is so good to have in advance. And this long division, alright, to be really two great things to have going into Algebra 2. So what is the result when you see this long expression is divided by 2x plus 5? So 2x plus 5 goes outside the house. And that lengthy expression goes inside the house. So do you remember the three letters we have to think about? DMS, divide. So we divide the first terms. That would be 6x to the third divided by 2x. Alright, so that would be 3x squared. After you divide, and guys, just as a side note, I only give you one of these problems for Delta Math because it does take a bit of time. But you can really practice. The assignment's open. All right, you can continue to work on these problems to get extra practice. So yeah, just a side note. But anyway, after you divide, you throw that, the result, okay, you throw that up top now. So it'd be 3x squared. After you divide, you multiply. So now we take this and we multiply by everything times 2x times 5. All right. So 3x squared times 6x, 3x squared times 2x is 6x to the third. And 3x squared times 5 is 15x squared. Okay, now subtract, which means we're changing the signs. Minus, and this also becomes minus. Remember, those first terms are always going to cancel out. So now we have 9x squared minus 15x squared. So 9 minus 15 is negative 6x squared. Now we're back to DMS. Okay, so divide the result that we just got, negative 6x squared, divided by that 2x again. So this would be negative 3x. Throw that up top, negative 3x. Now multiply that by everything. Negative 3x times 2x is negative 6x squared. Negative 3x times 5 is negative 15x. Okay, change your signs for subtraction. That becomes addition. That becomes addition. Don't forget to bring down that negative 17x. These cancel. So now we have negative 17x plus 15x. So negative 17x plus 15x is negative 2x. The result, negative 2x, divide that by 2x, and that gives you what? Negative 1. Throw that up top, negative 1, and multiply it by everything. So negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Now we have to change the signs for subtraction. That's addition and addition now. Don't forget to bring down that negative 5 there. These cancel out. And on the right here we have negative 5 plus 5, so there's no remainder. So your final answer would be up top here. This 3x squared minus 3x minus 1. A lot of work, a lot that goes into it, but the more you practice it, the more you will master it. Okay? So the main idea here, guys, is you really, for Algebra 2, you're going to need to know long division and factoring, at least to get started, to get off to a good start come September. Okay? Please ask questions and remind anything at all, and get this Delta Math done. All right, due tonight at 8 o'clock. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you mañana.